Hey everybody, happy Sunday. It's me, Charlie. How you doing? My cold brew. That's what it's about right there. EV plus lemon. This thing's $6 to fill at your local grocery store. That's the way to do it. Anyway, got a big day today, so we got a bit of an early start. So, what we're going to cover today, first off, there's this announcement that the launch of CBO has been pushed back, and so all these gurus are super excited because they don't have a course written on it because we haven't finished this case studies to define the best practice, so the reps haven't taught them, so they can't make a for-profit thing. So they're like, hey, look, you don't need to do it, and they're using scare tactics to prevent you from doing the best, using the best quality product and the superior ad type, which is CBO. So a direct way of undermining those gurus today. Number one thing we're going to talk about, first thing, extra topic, is how to convert your ad set budget campaigns to CBO overnight. Let's get you there right the fuck now. Fuck them. That's what we can do today to make a difference. Number two, we're going to go over a classic hack. Our homework this week is going to be for all of you that are prospecting on Facebook and doing a great job that want to scale it up. We're going to talk about a classic hack we covered in February that had great success. Dozens of people adopted it and saw overnight performance lifts. So it's our old engaged shopper shootout. We're going to recover that thing. Huge success. It's not best practice for everything that I do and a lot of other advertisers too. So let's get it going for you. Also, we're going to cover next steps and after, for those of you that got the ebook, which number one ebook so far. It's been blown away. The amount of people that went back and did homework from the last week's immediately people were doing old homework so they can get that ebook right away. It was funny. I think within like 30 or 40 minutes of me getting it done, I had a dozen people requesting it because they shouldn't send me homework. And I mean, I was hitting up in the middle of the night from people all over the world. It was great. From Vika and Alyssa and Waleed and Joe and John and just people all over the world took it. It was so exciting. It's phenomenal. And this ebook was the eCom brand builder blueprint, the 6-point best practice strategy to launching brands using on eCom to get profits right away. There's no guru bullshit. There's no like secret formula. It is literally just here are the tools. Here's the best way to take advantage of the unfair advantage of and all of these tools in the marketplace. Here's how to take profits from day one, scale them up, and everything. And it was really basic. And it was funny. I launched it on Friday, and by this morning, as of this morning, I already have a dozen people that have sent me in that they're taking the steps for it. The Instagram growth hacking, our rep at Tap Joy, we're gonna need a new rep because she's got like 20 new clients just from this group. People doing the branded search and going above and beyond and trying to go to the next steps of it, which is amazing. So we're going to cover what the next steps is for all of those tactics we cover in that book, which is the last page of that book. We're going to dive into it a little bit deeper. And I'm going to cover an attribution conversation. I saw a lot of you guys, I got into an argument with some gurus, some of those traveling talking head bullshitters that go out there just like, they get rich quick scam artists that are at every fucking conference. Where I confronted them directly on their comment threads. And then the funny thing is, they actually never wrote back to me. Long conversation, I drop it, conversation over. One or two people come in to defend them. I then wrote back to them. Instead of writing back, I did a video. And so we're going to cover all of that. And it was funny. I've been getting so many people from those eCom Facebook groups, the first in line from Gary V. I think there's at least 100 of you from the last week that have come in from there. So welcome to y'all, Gary Vaynerchuk fans. And so we got a lot of stuff to cover today. So I'm getting an early start. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a big one. The last 2 or 3 weeks have been monumental lives, and it has been phenomenal. I want to thank everybody for coming into the group. And I want to say, if this group is meaningful and valuable for you and you really enjoy it, the number one way that you can say thank you to me is inviting one person to the group. And I see the invitations because there's no other admins. Everything goes through me. I comment on every post. I approve everything. I approve every person, and I ban every scam artist in the group, me personally. So I see it when it's like invited by. It makes me feel so good. I must have welcomed 20, 30 new people this week that came from an invitation from somebody else that found value. So that means the world to me. Thank you very much. Also, want to say, again, for y'all that are new to this, we have homework every week. And if you do any of the homework, then you can get any of the ebooks we have directly sent to you for free. Or you can get half off the Patreon, the Slack channel, or one-on-ones with me. So doing the homework is the lessons that we go over every week. It's free. If you do those, you get anything else we have for free or for massively discounted if you want to skip the line and get more assistance. This is not a for-profit channel. I'm in no way trying to sell any courses. There's no long-term like sales funnel with all sorts of other shit. I'm just a guy who's sick and tired of these gurus taking advantage of people. I'm a guy that's defining the best practices, and talking to you all helps me do a better job because I understand not just in the theory, but in the actual application from a $50 million brand to a $500 a month brand. So it means the world to me to help you guys out. And I've seen more and more people just sending success stories to me. And I don't know that they actually share them all here, but I mean, people that were, like I can think of one guy in particular who was a waiter that got fired, started doing drop shipping. The drop shipping didn't work out because of the lessons here. They got a job at an ad agency. And then they basically were taking the lessons here to undermine their ad agency, and the client loved him so much that he got a job running the eCom thing. So in 1 year, he went from a waiter struggling to do things to being the guy in charge of an eCom brand that's doing $5 million a year, $10 million a year. Like, that's insane. And that's just one lesson. I love that stuff. There's a million of them. I'm not going to say it to tell my own too much, but just wanted to say thank you to you guys. It means everything to me. I really appreciate it. Hi, Renzo and Evan. Hey, Renzo, been a while, man. Nice to see you. Robert and Chris. Let's see. Oh, man, we got a lot of good people. So anyway, let's get started with the homework. This is going to be a classic hack, and then we'll go forward. So the homework for the week is for all y'all doing prospecting on Facebook is using engaged shoppers to test. Now, we did this back in February where I basically challenged everybody, how do you increase your prospecting by 50% overnight? And the honest truth was our average results were about 20 to 40%. So it was a little bit of an overpromise, but holding myself accountable to it. So this is a very basic thing. There's an audience in Facebook, an interest group, it's behavior, called engaged shoppers. Engaged shoppers is people that are likely to click on Facebook ads and buy because they previously clicked on Facebook ads and bought. So Facebook knows that these are people who are highly receptive to the ad platform. When you are going after a giant audience and trying to maximize the effect of your dollar, you want the people that are going to buy. For instance, if you had a cash-only store, you would want to get only cash-only buyers into your store. If people were like, yeah, I'll buy all day, but I only have a credit card, well, they're of no use to you. These are people that you only want the people that are likely to buy off of Facebook ads because they've done it before. So let's just target them. So for the record, I now use engaged shoppers basically on every prospecting audience. We've talked about it for the testing, bucket-based CBO, you throw it on there everywhere at top of funnel. The net effect of this is, generally speaking, you're narrowing your audience down a little bit by just eliminating the people that are less likely to make purchases. And the immediate overnight impact is that CPMs tend to go up a little bit, but conversion rates do too. CPCs come down, CPAs come down, and after the campaign matures for a little while, your CPMs start to drop, especially when you start doing creative testing against the engaged shoppers, and then you're running only the best creative for engaged shoppers. Everything gets better. So anyway, with that, the homework for the day is, if you take an existing campaign or existing ad set, now what I've done before, or what our homework was before when we did this back in February, was take your campaign, duplicate the campaign entirely, and in your new campaign, set the budgets to 50% or whatever you want to do, but run in your new campaign only engaged shoppers. Add engaged shoppers as a layer against all of your audiences. So say you got 1% lookalikes and broad audiences and everything else. Go in, instead of just having that, layer in engaged shoppers as an interest group to narrow things down. Maybe you're using interest. You can add another interest, not as additional, but to narrow down. If you do this, the best, what we did before and what I want to try to do again is take your existing campaigns or existing ad sets, duplicate them. Now, what we found best was taking an old campaign, duplicating it over to a new campaign, and then launching that new campaign with all of your audiences having engaged shoppers laid on, right? And then at a much lower budget, and then you shift your budget from non-engaged shoppers to engaged shoppers as performance dictates, right? And it's just a shootout. And all I want to do is encourage you guys to take advantage of this simple hack. It's really easy. About 90% of the people, 95% of the people that I've seen and go in with this endeavor, I've seen really great results within the first 2 weeks. The few people that didn't see that result were more lead gen folks who honestly engaged shoppers really didn't work for them. And we found out the reason why, and it makes sense when you think about it, after the fact, is that engaged shoppers are eCom buyers, they're buyers, right? If you're doing lead gen, that's not necessarily a buyer. You're trying to get somebody to give up their information. Too bad there's not a lead gen version, an engaged lead gen audience, but hey, we can wish, right? And as my relationship to Facebook is closer and closer and closer, I'm going to be definitely pushing for stuff like that. Hi, Austin and Mariana and Rutger and Garcia. It's nice to see you. But anyway, yeah, so that's the homework. And the easiest way to do this, if you want to cheat the homework, really easy, is you can get your hands on the new ebook or any of them, is just show me a screenshot of an ad set that's got engaged shoppers put on it. That's it. That's as simple as the proof of I want. I don't need you to do anything more than that. There needs to be no, videos or giving up your information. Just take a screenshot of an ad set with engaged shoppers layered on it. If you want to cheat the system and cheat me and cheat you, that's fine. I'll give you the thing for free anyway. If you want to embrace it wholeheartedly and see the benefits of it, go for it. I dare you. I think it's going to be great. And what I can say is, in the group of top Facebook advertisers that I'm in, it's almost it's basically considered odd or foolish or negligent when people don't do this. So try it out. It's funny. I just had another group member who's also in the disruptor group in my office this week, and we were chatting about all sorts of stuff, and I was showing her things, and it was great. She gave us a few tips, and I gave her a few tips, and we got to go over things, and I gave her the ebook and the Scrum doc. It was wonderful. But yeah, so she's got a super high cost, long consideration product, and it seemed like she was using it on everything. It was funny. I just thrown her this, that, and the other thing. She's like, "Oh yeah, definitely engage shoppers. Throw it on there, absolutely." So whether you're selling a $20 product or a $1,000 product, you got to throw that in there, absolutely. So again, this was our Spend the Fuck Up challenge from February. But take your prospecting campaign, duplicate it, and your new audiences, layer on engaged shopping to everything, and run it at half your budget, 20% of your budget. I don't care, but I challenge you to do that, because what we saw was about 80 to 90% of the people that did it, and it was dozens of folks, saw success within like 7 to 10 days. And they eventually shifted everything over. And what I can tell you is that almost every advertiser that's spending a shit ton of money uses this as well. And it will benefit the people, especially those that are spending a little amount of money. Because say you have a lookalike audience of 2 million people, and you're narrowed down to the 1.2 million people or less that are most likely to buy your product, because they're people that are most likely to click on a Facebook ad and buy, all you've done is eliminated the riffraff from your store. So you're immediately going to be more efficient. And yeah, so part of the challenge here is just to do that. And if you want to show your homework and you want to get proof and you want to get half off the Slack or half off a one-on-one or kind of free ebook or whatever else, just take a screenshot of you layering on engaged shoppers and direct message me, and I'll respond with whatever one of those things that you want. It's just that easy. That's it, right? So take a look at it. I'd love to see it. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, so can you tell this is starting to kick in? All right. Yeah, so that's that piece. That's the classic. Now, the number one thing I wanted to address today, well, actually I had a couple of things that were really important, but this morning it hit me. Just, I've been seeing all these people, and some of you have been sending me messages of these like gurus from around the world saying like, hey, look, CBO is getting pushed back, and you know, don't go to CBO, you don't have to use it yet, don't transfer over. And it fucking made me pissed off, because basically what's going on is people that their business model, part of their income relies on selling overly drawn up courses of out-of-date tactics that they learned from their Facebook reps months before, and then they did case studies on, are telling you not to take advantage of the superior technology. Now, when I look at that, the number one thing that screams out to me is, you make your money telling people how to do things the best way. You haven't been told the best way to do it, so you don't have a way of monetizing it, so you're telling your people not to do it. That's dangerous, that's irresponsible, and that's predatory. So fuck them. I'm on this whole fucking Undermining the Gurus kick, and I really hope you're along with me. By the way, that's another thing. Take any of the advice we drop in this group, whether it's the homework or the sexy tips and tricks, any of that stuff. Hey, baby, taking off?
Taking off, I give you a puppy.
Oh, I got a puppy! Oh.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no.
Burno.
All right, bye.
Bye, hon. Have a good day.
Hang on. This is Charlie. Bye.
Bye, babe. So yeah. There we go. Hey, Matthias, nice to see you. So yeah. Anyway, you take any of the sexy tips and tricks, any of the things that were posted into the group, any of that stuff, if you copy and paste it into 2 or 3 groups, I'll say this, if you copy and paste any of our sexy tips and tricks, you can take credit for it, I don't give a shit, and drop it into 3 groups where somebody who runs that group is selling a for-profit coursework, I'll give you any of the ebooks for free. And if you want to throw in hashtag Undermine the Guru, fine by me. Just do that shit and take a screenshot of it. That's all I want. I'm sick and tired of these people taking advantage of folks. And yes, they're helpful, but you can get all the information for free from Facebook Blueprint, or you can come here and you can learn it 6 months beforehand. Everything that we talk about gets put up by Facebook Blueprint in 6 months, and then put into a course 3 months to 9 months after, it's just 6 months after that, and sold back to other people for hundreds or thousands of dollars. It's a great business model. Ty Lopez has been ripping people off for years doing it, and I'm sick of it. Fuck them. You don't need to waste money. Let's go and define this shit, right? And let's undermine those assholes. They're snake oil salesmen. We should run them the fuck out of town. So, with that being said, CBO, right? Now, CBO is scary. Many people have tried it. They've had good luck and they've had bad luck. And the number one thing being told by these people, and I'm actually seeing one post that this one guy did, screenshot it, and this was like a UK guy. I think his name is Dinesh. His actual Facebook post has been cropped, screenshot, and sent around as an image to tell people, hey, you don't have to freak out. It's a fucking scare tactic. It's the same shit as like fucking Brexit. Fuck that. So, number one thing we want to do today is tell you how to take your ad set budget campaigns and turn them into CBO campaigns overnight. It's super fucking easy, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it right the fuck now. Ready? Pen and paper, notepad, anything you want to do. It's 3 steps, okay? First off, best practices for CBO. Real quick review. Number 1, you need to set ad set minimums and maximums on every ad set. It's in the edit ad set section. It's right below the name, right above the targeting. It's in there. It's a little blue link that says add spend limits to ad set. Click that thing. It opens up ad set minimums and maximums. Second piece of the review here is that Facebook will account for the minimums and maximums of every ad set that has them applied. So only use minimums and maximums on ad sets that are live. If you're running an ad set and you turn it off, remove the spend limits. And there's a button that says remove spend limits. Don't just put 0. Facebook fucks up. Their engineering team is 6 months behind our best practices. And believe me, I'm fucking pounding dirt with them right now to make it happen. And third, remember that our algorithm for how we set ad set budgets is our maximum is 50% more than our minimum. That's it. And our campaign budget is 20% more than the sum of all of our minimums. Now, we're going to go through this really quick. We're going to use an example. I wish I had a fucking whiteboard. You know, Brock back in the day, who used to be a real active thing, but I haven't seen him a lot lately. He used to do fucking whiteboard shit, and I'm a little jealous. So anyway, how do we take action on this? Let's say you have a campaign right now, 5 ad sets. All of those ad sets are running at $100, okay? And this is obviously not universal to everybody. I'm just trying to do simple math. Take it for however you want to, right? So anyway, you've got 5 ad sets. They're running at $100 a piece, ad set budget, and some guru saying, hey, don't go to CBO yet because they haven't figured out a way to sell you on a product so they can make hundreds of dollars teaching you how to do the thing that we're going over right now. And that's not going to happen till fucking March. So fuck them. Let's make success right now. So I should probably name these people out, but whatever. If they respond back to me, we'll call them out, Molly. So anyway, say you've got an ad set budget. The way to convert your ad set into a CBO is to take whatever your ad set budget is and make your minimum 80% of that. 80% of that. So say you have an ad set, you have a campaign with 5 ad sets. Each ad set's $100, right? Well, we can bounce around to give some examples. So ad set number 1 is $100, right? So if ad set number 1 is $100, you make your new minimum $80, 80% of it, and 50% more than that is $120. The net effect of when you do that is that you're still basically saying spend about $100, which is your ad set budget. Now, say you have ad set 2 is $50. Then you put your minimum at 40 and your maximum at 60 because it's 50% more. So you ad set number 2 is like 100, or ad set number 3 is 150. Okay, 80% of 150 is $1.30. I'm doing the math in my head. $1.35, I think, right? 5 and then 10 and then 15. Okay, yeah. So $1.35 and more than, yeah. So you see how that kind of goes up. Now this is where you're gonna get into some wonky math. You can round up to the nearest $5, so don't even worry about it. But $1.35, and then let's say, you know, it's gonna be like 50% over that is roughly $65, so roughly $200. Okay. So anyway, as you start doing this to all of your ad sets, your net effect is that you basically give them all a range. And the ones that spend more money have, the ones that have in your ad set budget have a higher limit, have a broader range, right? So basically, a lot of us have spent years, or at least me, I've spent years optimizing ad sets to the previous couple days' performance, like moving budgets up and down, $10 more here, $1,000 more, $100, whatever it is. Probably not a lot of you have been doing $1,000, but you know, whatever. Hi, Dylan. Hey, Dylan, nice to see you, man. We're undermining the shit out of some gurus here, buddy. Nice to see you. So, your ad set budgets, to convert them to CBO, you're taking your CBO, your ad set budget, you're cutting, you're setting your minimum to 80% and your maximum to 50% more than that. Your ad set budget was 100, your new minimum is 80, and your maximum is 120. Why does this work? And like I said, folks like me have been optimizing ad set budgets in the middle of the day, over the course of days, all sorts of stuff. When you set a threshold on CBO, you don't have to do that anymore. Because when you're setting a threshold, when you're setting those ranges, you're saying, hey, look, if it's an expensive day, don't spend more than, I want you to spend at least 80, but you don't have to spend more than that. And if it's a good day and getting a lot of success, you can spend up to $120. Now, some of you have ad sets that are maybe $500, right? So what does that look like? It means on a minimum, you can spend like $400, but on a maximum, spend up to $600, right? So there's huge ranges, and it means you don't have to manage your ad sets intra-day. And it means you don't have to be reactionary on a Thursday to take, you know, what's my ad set budget based off of Sunday through Wednesday's data. Because the honest truth is Sunday through Wednesday isn't Thursday. the best thing you can do is try to be reactionary and gamble for the future. Fuck that. The reason CBO is superior and the reason it's killing it for everybody adopting it and the reason that this is the best practice, which by the way, we are rounding out the first week of their 6-figure test with Facebook, is because you're giving it a range and you're allowing Facebook to be smart, but you're giving it a threshold on either side. So that means that you don't have to do the work anymore. Instead of bumping up and pulling down based on performance because whoever got lucky that day, you're letting Facebook decide. And when you have multiple ad sets, then you're saying, hey, Facebook, say it's 5 ad sets where you have an 80 minimum and 120 maximum. That means that between them all, wherever the most opportunity is, wherever your engagement rates are higher, your CPCs are lower, your CPMs are lower, whatever fucking math Facebook is using to determine that spend level, it's going to be able to allocate towards the correct ad set without you having to manage it on a daily basis. It basically means you have around the clock inside of Facebook that's looking at the millions of auctions that are happening every second and doing budget adjustments for you. That's what CBO is doing. Now, the reason you need to set thresholds, and this is to somebody's point, what are the 5 things I learned at Facebook with all my meetings this week? One of the things that we learned and we've confirmed, as it was theory and then confirmed again, is that CBO looks at the most opportunity. The engineering group that designed it is trying to find a way of most efficiently spending your money. The problem is, as it's not necessarily understanding of what your business objectives are. And that's the honest truth, is there's no fucking way that that solution is going to work for every advertiser, for every ad type, for every campaign type, for every business. It's just going to try to find the lowest common denominator, most opportunity. Hi, DJ. So instead, you have to give it thresholds to understand what your business objectives are. When you do that, it's going to spend that money really, really efficiently, whether it's at prospecting or it's bottom of the funnel, add to cart and view content. When you give it those budget ranges, you're allowing it to respond to market forces in the middle of the day and not saying you have to spend $50 today. You're saying, hey, spend at least 40, but if you find opportunity, go to 60. And the honest truth is, because we know that those numbers are the average number at the end of the week. If it's a good day, it can spend a little bit more than that. And that's okay. So instead of you having to say, oh, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, this ad set's killing it, let me bump up my budget, and then really it was killing it because you got 3 or 4 sales in the morning and then you eat all your profits in the night. Facebook's going to make that optimization for you. It's your round-the-clock, 24-hour inside man running all of the budget optimizations on a daily basis on every ad set for every single ad for you. You don't have to do the work. That's why CBO is superior. That's why it's winning. And the honest truth is, there's not a case study out there that's been taught to reps to these gurus, so they don't have a course on it. And the honest truth is, every fucking course that you're going to run into is going to be $1,000, $100, $500 version of the last 2 minutes of what I said. So, if you want to take your ad set budget campaign and make it a CBO campaign, take your ad set budget. When you're flipping it over, your ad set budget minimum 80% of your ad set budget. Your spend maximum is 50% more than that. And then your campaign budget is going to be 20% more than the sum of the minimums. And what that does is it basically says, if you've got 5 $100 ad sets, you're now going to be able to say, all right, I'm willing to have this thing spend $600, and you're going to give everything a threshold between 80 and $120. And what happens is, instead of you having to manage all 5 of these ad sets and move the ad set budgets around all the time, which fucks the shit out of the algorithm and really actually hurts your bottom line. Plus, it's a lot of fucking work, and there's not a real long-term benefit in your quality of life for doing all of that fucking work. You're letting Facebook do that. And you're giving it a threshold, right? So out of those ad sets, at any given time, in any given algorithm, if it can bind a sale over here, it's going to allocate more money. So you're basically saying, I'm telling you how I want $400 to be spent. And I'm giving you the ability to spend the rest of the budget however you see fit. When you do that, CBO will be better than ad set budgets. It's something you can do right now. It's something you can do really easily. And I do this every day. And you can take a calculator or however you want to do it. Jot it down on a sheet of paper. But take your ad set budgets. In that campaign, find the total spend. Add 20% to that total spend or no, but however you want to do it. But anyway, make that your campaign budget. And then just run this math backing out to what the ad set budget minimums and maximums are. That'll get you there right now today. You don't have to wait for March for Facebook to force you into doing this thing and then June for somebody to come out with the best practices guide. That's a year away. You can start winning right the fuck now. That's what I'm doing, and I'm telling you that's what Facebook's buying on. And it's interesting, in the case study that I'm doing with Facebook right now, even though Facebook doesn't even say it in their blueprint or in their best practices, when we're doing a shootout, because right now I'm doing a 6-figure month-long shootout on a brand new ad account, brand new pixel, brand new product, brand new ads, my way versus Facebook's best practice way. Facebook's best practice way uses ad set minimums. And when we didn't include maximums, the other rep in the room asked, like, oh, are we not using maximums? I thought that. So Facebook is literally taking our ideas right now and testing them out with a bunch of other advertisers. And their best practice has changed since we started doing this. Over the last 3 months, they went from saying trust CBO to include minimums and maximums and do it with this kind of math. And it's funny, it is word for word the bucket-based CBO thing, which makes sense because we're working with the engineering team, we're working with the measurement team, we're working with the disruptors team, we're working with the product team, and we're defining those things and we're using best practices. This current case study will be the element of when we prove it out, one way or the other. If I'm wrong and they're right, or if we're right and they're wrong, it's going to be used as one of the cornerstone arguments for how to best use CBO. Now, mind you, as somebody that's spent millions of dollars on this already, we've already tested it. We just have to prove it scientifically, and that's fine by me because they're flipping half the bill, and God bless them for it. I would love a giant fucking check from Facebook. So that's what we're doing right now. And they change their best practice to more and more closely match what we're doing. It's awesome. Where the real big differences in that test is the second steps, where we talk about raising budgets and doing horizontal expansion. They're talking about taking your ad set, launching a new campaign. We're going to see what happens. Now, a quick update. It's day 4 or day 5 of that test. We spent almost $2,000 per sell, and we're now neck and neck. We came out to a huge lead, and then they got lucky a little bit, and we're running right now 3 creatives per. One of the things I'm finding is when you give it only a few options, Facebook's best practice that they're defining right now is basically at parity. The unfair advantage bucket-based CBO has, you can test a bunch of concepts. So I'm going to launch more concepts tomorrow. So we're going to try to overwhelm their system with something that provides our unfair advantage is stability, lower risk across a broader range. The more we push in that direction, the more we're going to win. So we're going to expose their weaknesses. We're going to push upon it because their weakness is our strength. And we're going to win. And it's super fucking fun. I'm wicked obsessed over this thing. I fucking love it. And it's horrible. There's absolutely no reason you should be looking at an ad set that spent a couple $100 and a 6-figure test and say, hey, we're winning. But whatever. It's a moral fucking victory. And I'm very happy about it. So anyway, that's part number 2 is Undermining the Gurus, how to take your ad set budget campaign and turn it into a CBO. If anybody doesn't know how to do that, here's the link. Comment your friends. I'm going to share this in all the fucking groups tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, keep doing it. And remember, for all of you that are, well, anyway, Undermining the Gurus, that's a whole other fucking thing. So the attribution piece, this is the piece that I went off on some fucking gurus this week and I shared it everywhere because fuck them. So one of the ways you can tell if somebody's absolutely full of shit when they're giving you advice including almost every fucking speaker at any fucking event, is when they show you the results of their campaign, almost every single time it's at a 28-day click. It's at Facebook's default attribution. Now, why is that absolute bullshit? And I went off on the thing, but I'm going to rehash it quickly here. The reason that Facebook's default attribution is an absolute bullshit vanity number is that it assumes that there are no other channels on board and that Facebook should take all the credit for everything. Let's go through a journey here. Say you've got an ad that you show somebody today, and they go to your website, and maybe they go back and they don't buy, right? But maybe there's like an email lead gen thing and they sign up for it. And then, a couple days later, they Google it and, they click on an ad and they go back to the site and maybe they, ponder around a little bit, but they're not buying yet. So then they get like an abandoned cart email. They get a little pop-up that's like, oh, hey, look, 20% off, something like that. And then maybe there's like a chat bot thing that they're asking some questions in. They go into some review sites. They go on Amazon. They check it out. And like 12 days, 14 days later, they get a new email because you brought on a new email person. They're like, holy shit, that's awesome. And then they buy. Now, that's a really fucking common customer journey. According to these gurus and everybody that's full of shit, including every fucking ad agency, no offense to those that run ad agencies. By the way, if you're not doing this for your numbers, you're not looking nearly as good to your clients. And this is something I used to do when I was running between TRX and Nissan, MGM, when I was bullshitting numbers for CBS, everything. Like, this is what we did. Best practice, standard. You never do anything other than that to show your numbers because it takes credit for everybody else's work. Now, if you notice, in that customer journey, their way says that the Facebook ad gets credit, right? That Facebook ad goes from, a day one performance of a 0.5 up to a 28-day performance of like a 7X or a 10X. And like, hey, shit, look at this campaign where I'm spending the shit out of money. I'm getting a 10X return, a 20X return. It's fucking bullshit, and they know it. And that's what pisses me off the most. Let's go back through this customer journey. Facebook ad, they clicked. Great. What happened? They didn't buy. Right? So it means that right away, and we're going to assume, we're going to take their net effect, right? So we're going to take their prospecting campaign at a 10X return, which is a bullshit number. How that number is bullshit. So they clicked and they didn't buy. Immediately, we know that they didn't set up a retargeting campaign inside of the same ad account because that prospecting campaign got credit, which means, number one, they're not running a retargeting campaign, or the retargeting efforts are not happening inside of the ad account. So, number one, that's not a best practice. They're not retargeting, or somebody else is doing it. Another service, right, is doing retargeting. And you see this a lot. There are entire ad agencies where all they do is retargeting, and they do it on a separate ad account, and then you get duplicitous purchases because they're taking all of your efforts. And they're not setting up retargeting. So immediately full of shit. There's absolutely no reason somebody spending $1 million a day or somebody in a nice suit speaking to a giant room full of people spending $100 or $500 or $1,000 to be in that room. There's no reason the guy on stage isn't doing any retargeting. Number one reason that it's bullshit. Number two, what happened? Person got to the site, checked out a couple things, but didn't buy, but signed up for the email list. So now email's targeting that person, right? So now they've signed up for an email. Great. So now you got your email person on a journey with them. That it wasn't working out yet, but at least you're getting that relationship. Based on that relationship, a couple days later, they go onto Google and they search for it and they find your brand, and then they go back to the site because they don't remember the thing. They didn't have it saved in their history, but they know, like, okay, it's Morrison's Dog Food. Let me type in Morrison's Dog Food. Okay, there it is. So now you've spent money on your Facebook ad. You're probably spending money on retargeting, but not inside that ad account because you're making a bullshit case study to try to trick people into giving you a shit ton of money to learn your out-of-date best practices that you learned from a Facebook rep 6 months ago. You're paying an email person, or you're paying to send emails. And now you just spent money on a Google branded search campaign or a display campaign or a YouTube campaign or a shopping campaign that's gotten you another click. After that click, somebody comes into your site and they look at things again. but you've changed maybe a dev person or email person, and then you get a pop-up for an email that's like, okay, well, that's really interesting. And then they sign up for that, they get it, and then they say, you know what? I get 20% off plus free shipping right now. Fuck it, I'm gonna buy. They open their email, they see that offer, they click on that email, they go to the site, and they make the purchase. Now, the reason that's bullshit, obviously, number one, is that Google, say your Google's on a 7-day maturation window, Google's going to get credit for that purchase. So say it's a $20 bag of dog food. Google's going to get a credit in your overall channel reporting for that sale. So there's $20 revenue. Email channel is going to get credit for that sale. So there's $40 revenue. And then Facebook's going to get credit for that sale from the touch that it had 10 days ago. So that's $60 revenue, which means when you look at your reporting, you're seeing $60 revenue. Shit, well, let's spend the fuck up. And then what happens is because you only made $20, you fucking bankrupt your company. Now, it doesn't necessarily always bankrupt because the system works, right? And what it means is you're not actually able to understand the attribution, but all in all, you're getting something out of it and you're able to spend up. And honestly, that usually means that you've got a business that's really strong and your e-com system is effective. But what it means is you're not able to tell on a day-to-day basis what made that happen. Now, when we backtrack this whole customer journey, the honest truth is there's absolutely nothing that you can do in Facebook that is going to make that person opening the email 10 days later more likely to buy because the email did the work. Now, all the other things absolutely helped out in the customer journey, 100%. Absolutely, the Facebook prospecting is valuable, and the initial touch is valuable, and the site design, and the Google, all of that helped. But there's no actionable insight. There's no way for you to optimize your creative on Facebook to get a better result. And that's the real issue. Because the sale happened 10 days later. So if you make a change in Facebook and it takes you 10 days, 20 days, 30 days to see the result of that change, it means you're making a dozen, 24 changes a year. We all know that that's a recipe for fucking disaster, right? So how do you improve that? And that's why, again, the 28-day is absolute bullshit, and any number somebody gives you on 28-day means that they're taking credit for everything. And if somebody's prospecting campaign is getting them a 5x on Facebook, it means that they're not retargeting properly, because the retargeting should be getting credit for that sale because it should be the last click. And if it's not the last click, then that's fine, but it means that something else is doing the work and Facebook is artificially taking the credit for it. So that's one way that you can tell anybody giving you results that look that good. If it's not on a one-day click, it's full of shit. One-day click or bust. Now, 28-day is valuable to understand the eCom system and the value of your creative and all these other things, but it doesn't give you day-to-day actionable insight. So, how do we fix this? This is where the Scrum Doc really, really comes into play. And you don't need to do it on the Scrum Doc, but let me and for those of you that are new, the Scrum Doc is the reporting platform that I built that we talk about in here all the time, and it's something that I stole from another advertiser. It massively improved based on all the feedback we've gotten. But what it is it's a one-day post-click reporting, basically a Google sheet or an Excel doc that you update on a daily basis, mapping every channel to the same lowest common denominator so you can see what's moving, what's creating success. Now, the pushback that I got on this when I was talking about one-day click was, well, if I only run Facebook ads, they're going to make me, the 5X on one day. I'm going to turn all my Facebook ads off. And that's true, 100% true. And it's because you're measuring the benchmarks that are bullshit. So how do you fix this on a one-day click? The way that you fix this stuff. Oh, hi, Mike. Hi, Senator Eva. Hi, DJ. Sorry, I was on a fucking tear. The way that you fix this is, especially if you're running 28-day or whatever else, take your 28-day reporting from the last 6 months or the last year or whatever. You're going to know this is good business, this is bad business. take that reporting and run it up against a 28-day up against a 1-day click. Senator, let me get to your question here real quick after this. So take your 28-day reporting and match it up against a 1-day click reporting. You don't necessarily need a Facebook ad on 1 day that's going to get you a 1.5x or a 5x or whatever. Understand what success looks like. Very often, 1-day post-click might be less than a 1. Maybe your prospecting 1-day post-click is like a 0.6 or a 0.8 because you know in 28 days that's going to get you wherever your goal is, right? You've been mapping your entire business to that, and that's fine. Understand what that benchmark of success is. Maybe it's as simple as your prospecting comes in at a 1, your mid-funnel comes in at a 2, and your bottom of funnel comes in at a 3. Maybe it's just that simple on a 1-day post-click. Now, remember, and it's at a 1, what that means is in your current model of 28-day, you're happy, right? So whatever that success looks like, maybe a 5x after 28 days is really a 0.8 or a 0.9. Now, the reason that's really valuable information is because you can then optimize day to day, looking at day over day trends and really work hard on, say, success for you is a 0.8. And you're trying to understand why business isn't as good right now. On a 28-day model, you're basically looking at the last month and trying to make projections. Now, that's not really going to work for 90% of people. If you understand that business isn't really good right now, but your benchmark for prospecting needs to be a 0.8, and all of your prospecting ads are coming in at 0.6 or 0.7 on your 1-day post-click, then you can improve those. It means that you can measure the money you spend today by the performance that happens today when you look at reporting tomorrow. And then you can optimize based on that. And then I promise you, if you take a 0.6 or a 0.7 and you get your prospecting up to a 1, that 28-day number is going to be phenomenally better because you're driving higher quality traffic through your store, because you're converting more people sooner, and because you're spending your money more efficiently. Instead of driving in a bunch of 0.6 and 0.7 folks, you're only driving in 1X's or better. And if you're converting them right off the bat, then that means you don't need to spend as much money trying to convert lower quality traffic down the funnel, and you're spending less resources trying to convert people that haven't necessarily purchased, and you can spend those resources coming up with better offers, coming up with better journeys, coming up with ways to get them to buy a second or third or fourth or fifth time. When you're spending your time and effort trying to get somebody to buy, that is time and effort not spent on getting somebody to spend more money or somebody to buy a second time. It's a business objective conversation. So the value of understanding a 1-day post-click number and setting all of your benchmarks to that is understanding what you can do today to improve your business tomorrow. And you can measure it in that 28-day. You can do end-of-month reporting and see the benefit of it. But what I can promise you, and I'll even go so far on the limb to absolutely guarantee this, right? Because it's a very bullshit thing to have to even worry about. If you improve your 1-day post-click number, your 28-day number will improve. Bottom line, because it's just algebra. It's just a matter of, well, I know my number gets 3 times better over 28 days. Or I know my number gets 5 times better over 28 days. Well, 5 times better than a 0.6 is a 3. 5 times better than a 1 is a 5. If you want to take your business from a 3x to a 5x ROAS, get your 1-day post-click from a 6 to a 1. Fundamentally improve the quality of everything by measuring at the lowest common denominator. And what happens then is if you're running your prospecting ads and they're performing better, and then you run those prospecting ads in your mid and bottom funnel because, and this is something we talked about last week, because your ad is something that Facebook is going to receive better, and because they know that people are more likely to engage with it, and because the conversion rate is better, and all of those wonderful things, all of your lower funnel campaigns are going to improve as well. Your CPM is going to go down. Your CPCs are going to go down. Your CPAs are going to go down. Your ROAS is going to go up. And then you can start having conversations about trying to raise your AOV, your average order value, because you've already made all of your ad sets more efficient by making the ads that you're using more efficient on the first day. Basically, let me try it this way. A 28-day click tries to justify say it's a foot race, right? 28-day click says, well, everybody finished the foot race at X. A 1-day click says, if you're going to start a mile behind me on a marathon, I'm going to beat you every time. So all I need to do is figure out a way of cheating that starting point closer and closer and closer to the finish line. Now, the only way you're going to be able to do that is by measuring on a 1-day post-click, and that way you can optimize your results on a 1-day post-click, and you can look at your results day by day, because the honest truth is you want to be able to measure Facebook and Tapjoy and Google and Instagram and organic efforts and email and chatbot and everything else. You want to measure them all across the same thing so that you can understand the customer journey all the way through. Multi-touch attribution is wonderful. Every channel has a value. All of these things are true. But the honest truth is that unless you are spending shit tons of fucking money, hi Yusuf, and so unless you're spending shit tons of money, and I mean $50, $100, $200,000 a day, you're not getting a large enough share of voice that you need to worry about anything more than impulse buy incremental traffic at day one. And when you improve that, everything will get better. It's just a matter of, say in the foot race, if you can start your guy on a 100-meter dash 10, 20 meters down the line, or if somebody else doesn't have to wait 5, 10 seconds to start, because you're starting your prospecting campaigns running at a 1 instead of a 0.6, you're going to win every fucking time. And the way that you can separate yourself from another advertiser is just being more honest. The honest truth is you spent money today. What's the effect of it today? That's it. Everything else is a vanity metric to try to make people feel good. And it's a thing that gurus and agencies and other people trying to sell you on the quality of the product, it's something that they will argue against till the cows come home because it makes them look worse. The reason I was able to win so often in ad agencies and why, my bosses hated me is because I reported on a 1-day click. I said, yes, your competitor's getting you a 4X. I'm going to get you a 2.2, but I'm going to get you a 2.2 in 24 hours. In a month, that's going to take your 4X to a 5.5. Then the next conversation is, if you had given me 150,000 instead of 1,000, you would have made an extra, 200 grand in sales. Then you raise your billings, all sorts of fun stuff. But remember that customer journey. Somebody saw the Facebook ad, they went to the email, they went to Google, they did all of those things. By the time somebody purchases, there's no optimization you can make to Google, to your site, to the Facebook ad that's going to improve that net effect 14 days later. But on day one, you can say, okay, I know that I lost 50 cents on the dollar day one. How do I only lose 20 and spend the same amount? Immediately, everything else will get better. Now, it might take the same amount of time for that person to make a purchase, but because your ad set is running more efficiently, you're going to get more people down the funnel, right? So that's how it all works out, is it's a volume game. And then without increasing your spend at all, you're scaling your business by just getting better results out of every dollar that you're spending. Make your dollars work harder, and then you don't have to work nearly as hard. It's just that simple. So I know that's a long-winded thing. I know there's a lot of steps in there. I know there's some questions. We're going to get to them right now, but I promise you, if anybody gives you a magnificent result, challenge them on it. Say, hey, look, what's your 1-day post-click number? And when they try to give you a line of shit to say, well, 1-day post-click is inaccurate, you can say, hey, great, I know that you're bullshitting me and you're full of shit, thank you, but no thank you, and you move on to the next guy. And when that person challenges you again, fucking tag me and I'll go in there and leave a fucking video comment to rip them to shreds because I know better and they know better. Fuck those people. Taking advantage of you guys like that. Taking advantage of me. Fuck that. I'll be your advocate all fucking day. I would love to get in there. Somebody went in there and was like, who pushed the angry button on this guy? And I was like, the asshole trying to rip people off. That's who pushed it. Because I know some of those people. I know them personally. They're great people. But, man, like, and I'm going on an aside, and then I'll get to the questions here, Sanarib and you and everybody. But the thing that upsets me the most, the last thing that somebody showed me that pissed me off, to the point where like I had to take action, was a case study somebody was running about a lead gen campaign over Black Friday and said, look at the net results of this campaign. We're getting a 28x on Facebook. Let me show you how to do it. 3 reasons that's bullshit. 1, 28-day click. We know it's bullshit. 2, they're doing a lead gen campaign leading up to a Black Friday sale and saying that they can get your ads, you can get your Facebook to perform that well on a Tuesday in July. That's fucking ridiculous. 3, they didn't mention it was Black Friday. They didn't quote that information, right? It was like a month ago that they were showing that data. So you already know it's like 6 to 9 months old that they ran the case study, and they're just now showing you the results and trying to sell you on it. But when I looked at the copy of the ad, it said Black Friday on it. When I looked at the date it was published, it was around a Black Friday time. I could tell by looking at their information that they were giving you results of something from 9 months ago that they made into a really great report, which means they didn't get anything nearly as good in the 9 months since then. Say it takes 3 months to put a report together. It doesn't. But let's say it takes 3 months to get a report together. They couldn't do anything between September and March that got nearly as good that they could tell you how to get a result. They couldn't do Christmas shopping. They couldn't do Father's Day, Mother's Day, etc., whatever. That's how you know somebody's bullshitting you. And when they were sitting in there trying to sell people on $300 a month classes to learn the thing that they did back in September, it just pissed me off. And then I raised my hand. I think I actually shared a video of this. I raised my hand and was like, hey, look, I understand you did that thing. Have you tried using an engagement campaign, getting people into chatbots so you can convert them at 1/10 of the price? And then, you know, why aren't you guys using retargeting? What's your number there? And, you know, if you did this thing with user-generated content, you could scale up 3 Instagram accounts on an automated, like all of this stuff. I asked them a question point blank. And the honest truth is, they weren't up to speed. They didn't know the best strategy because Facebook didn't tell them the best strategy, because it wasn't defined as best practice that they were able to test, because they're reacting to what the reps are saying. And we've all dealt with Facebook reps. We know what they're fucking salesmen. So when a fucking salesman gets an ad company or a guru or something like that to do a test, and then they run a case study during Black Friday and then spend the next 6 months trying to sell it as something that they can do for you, you know that it's bullshit. I was in a room full of 100 other people trying to succeed. Small businesses, people that wanted to provide better for their families, and here's a scam artist trying to take $300 off the top, giving year-old advice for something that at this point is basically obsolete. That's why I fucking laid into these people, and I'm fucking sick of it. And I hate it. Fuck them. Take them down. Take any of the advice that we give in here, copy and paste to 2 or 3. If you go into any 3 groups where people are selling courses with any of our advice, I'll give you any ebook we have. I'll just fucking send it to you and say thank you. And I'll champion you here too if you want it. Okay. So anyway, that's the attribution piece. So getting to your question, Senator says, so I got to change my attribution window. What I would say, Senator, is number 1, your Facebook ads should be going to 1-day click. I include 1-day click, 1-day view because there's more data there, but I measure only on a 1-day click. When I pull reporting, I measure on a 1-day click. Now, some people will say, well, a 28-day click is going to get you way more purchases. That's not true. When you say your optimization window, inside of your ad set from a 1 day to a 7 day or whatever, what you're doing is you're finding a different type of customer. The honest truth is 7 day click, when you optimize it at the ad set level, is just incrementally a few more people than a 1 day, but it's a less efficient number. So you can take a 1 day click audience, and if it's crushing, a way to scale that audience is to launch a 7 day click against the same group. The problem is all of your retargeting should be on a 1 day post click, because by the time you're hitting somebody up for an add to cart, that motherfucker should buy today, right? And that's especially where the fucking email journey bullshit really comes in, because people are going to buy, they abandon cart, they're going to buy on an email, they're going to go to Google. They're rarely going to buy from your Facebook ad. And the better you do on the other channels, the worse your Facebook's going to get. But that means you're winning. That's a whole other conversation. But make your attribution window 1 day click. I include 1 day view because you're going to get people that it will drop. 1 day view is people that are going to Google, right? That are saying, oh, I don't want to click on a Facebook ad. There are a shit ton of people that are afraid of clicking on a Facebook ad. They see a Facebook ad for something they like, they immediately go to Google, they end up on your website. That means that person is inside of your retargeting campaigns across every fucking channel, right? So including those people is a best practice, and it also gives Facebook more data to see who a likely buyer is. Basically saying, if somebody's exposed to this ad within 24 hours, they make a purchase, I want that data. That is infinitely more important to me than somebody that's likely to buy in the next 28 days. Because I'm measuring at the lowest common denominator, and I'm scaling against data at the lowest common denominator, which is somebody that's going to take an action within the next 24 hours. And unless you're spending 6 figures a day, you're not going to reach enough people in any audience to exhaust that audience, or to mean that you need to look past anybody besides people that are going to likely buy today. And when you improve everybody that's likely to buy today, the only net effect is downstream is you're going to get more efficient, so either more people or more likely buyers that are going to buy in 3 days, in 10 days, in 24 days. When you can get your cost per acquisition down from $60 to $20 or 60 to 50, it means you get more people in your channel. It means you get more clicks to your site. Because what happens when you get your ROAS from a 0.6 to a 1 is really that means that your CPC's gone down, that your CPA has gone down. It means that when you spend $100 a day, you're getting more people in, which means you're scaling your business by just making your prospecting campaigns more efficient. So your attribution window, what your ad set optimization should be set to is a 1 day click, 1 day view. Your reporting dashboard should be set to a 1 day click. And if you want to get fancy and you want to make yourself feel good, do default attribution as well. That's fine. And you can see the net effect of you running it this way over the next few months versus the way that you used to run it. I have done this for years, and I have yet to see a time where me managing on a 1 day click made the business worse. Honestly, I've yet to see a time where it didn't make it better. And the transparency that shows you is phenomenally improved. Say, for instance, you're running a Mother's Day campaign or a 4th of July campaign. Do you want to see the results of day 3 a month from now? No. You want to know like what ad set is working right now. Hey, this ad set's a waste of money. This one's more effective. Let me spend more money here versus over there. Let me set my ad set minimums and maximums inside of the budget to the ones that getting me more results. Let me let CBO find out what results are working for me. Let me spend the majority of my budget where I'm getting the most effect, because I know the net effect day 1 right here is going to make my business better in 28 days. I don't have to say, well, this would happen, and next year make a plan to kind of take action on it, because next year the marketplace is going to be completely fucking different. Yeah. Austin asks, so you said for optimization, 1 day click, 1 day view, but for reporting, just 1 day click? Yep, That's exactly it. And the reason we're reporting on one-day click is because it's the lowest common denominator. The reason we optimize the one-day click, one-day view is because we know there are people that are likely to see the ad they're going to convert today that might not click on that ad because for whatever reason, they are unwilling to click on a Facebook ad. Maybe they've dealt with Facebook ads before and they don't want to be fucking chased around by Facebook ads all the time, so they don't click on it. But they click, they see the ad, they want to buy, they have a level of intent, and they go to Google, they search a brand, they go to Amazon, they search a brand, and they make a purchase. Outside of the Amazon ones, the people that make a purchase there, you want Facebook to know that that's somebody that you're interested in because they're buying today. If you optimize your business to the people that are likely to buy today, you are going to get a higher volume of people that will buy later because you're able to afford them because you get more efficient on day one. Then every day afterwards gets more efficient too. And it gets exponentially more efficient. It is stunning at how much this can change the bottom line for a company. So hopefully that helps. Wow, great. I'm fucking stoked. That was awesome. If you have any questions, again, ask them in the group. And if you're watching this and it's fucking Christmas Day, ask the question and I'll get back to you. These aren't just for the people watching it live. If you're in replay right now and you've made it an hour in, first off, thank you. Second, best of luck to you and let me know anything I can do to help. Third, ask a question. Tag me in that question and I'll respond back to you. Or tag another group member, right? So these are things that'll last hopefully forever or however long. And if you have any question at any time, I'm more than willing to help you out with it. And I'm not trying to sell you anything. I don't have anything to fucking sell. I'm just trying to help you out because helping you out makes me smarter. And because I'm sick and fucking tired of all these people ripping folks off. So anything I can do to make the world a little bit better place is something I'm going to do. I try to make the room better because I was in it. And if I can do that by helping people improve their performance, then I get the emails and I get the messages of people saying that they were able, to, like, I've met some of you guys at conferences and you say, hey, look, listening to what you have to say has helped me start my own business. Or like anything I can, like that good is worth everything. And if it's a minute of my time that's going to change your business, I'll give it. Because the honest truth is, you guys have helped me out so much. So that's it. This is a fucking family. And we're going to take down these assholes by working together. So there were two other things that I really wanted to cover today. So we're going to dive into them. That's how we got an early start. And this is going to be a long one, but that's okay. Okay. So next piece was the next steps for everybody that's taken the eCom brand builder blueprint with the 6-step strategy for best practices. What are the next steps on those, right? So I'm going to cover these real quick and then we'll get back to answering the questions. And I'm just looking actually directly at the thing right now. So that's, if you see me kind of squirreling away real quick, that's what I'm looking at here, because I want to read this verbatim off the screen. So what are the next steps of each piece? Now remember, number one was a one-click buy landing page. So what's the next step after you make your one-click buy landing page? So if you've gotten success, you've launched this thing up and you're ready to scale it. The next thing you can do on the dev side, on your site build, on your landing page, is add post-transactional upsells, which means that after somebody buys and they check out, you can say, hey, look, are you interested in these other things? So Morrison's dog food, right? We got the $20 bag. Hey, look, are you interested in a collar or a medallion or a bowl or something else? It's something that's in line with the original product that adds value to it that somebody who made the first purchase might be interested in. So you've got a t-shirt company and you sold the t-shirt for 25 bucks. You can say, hey, look, are you interested in another shirt? People that bought this are likely to buy these. If you buy any of them, we'll give it to you for 20% off for free shipping. Then I'm like, well, I bought one shirt and I kind of like some other ones. Oh, hey, look, there's that other one that I did kind of like. And hey, I can get free shipping on it, which means I just basically add it to my existing order and I'm going to get a discount. Sure, I'll do it. What that does is it increases your average order value, because it means that the average customer that comes to your store is likely to spend more money, but you're doing it in a way that doesn't add any friction to the original purchase. The point of a one-click buy landing page is that you remove friction, that it makes somebody easy enough to buy off a 30-second session on your website. When you do this, when you increase the AOV, the immediate effect that that has is an increased ROAS on all of your ads, because it means that when you're advertising to your $25 t-shirt, say 1 out of 10 people takes the upsell to 20 bucks. It means your average order value might go from 25 to maybe 30, right? Or I guess it makes it 25 goes to 27. So if you're running at a 1x ROAS on a $25 shirt, all of your prospecting campaigns now went up to a 1.25. You just fundamentally improved your business, right? Because if 1 out of 10 people take an upsell for 20 bucks, sorry, it's 1.2. So if 1 out of 10 people take an upsell for 20 bucks, it means that you're increasing the average order value by $2. So when your ROAS is at a 1, now your ROAS is at a 1.2. Which means you just made your entire store more efficient, which, going back to everything else that we've just been saying, means that your retargeting efforts are going to get more efficient, because your average order value is what drives the profit margin on your store. If you don't have post-transactional upsells, that's the next step. Number 2, Instagram growth hacking. So if you've got an account that you're using, in Select or in Suzuki or any of the tools, and you're using the best practice there, what's the next step? Because you're saying, well, I can only have so many actions per day and I don't want to push my limits. So what's the next step? Is you make other accounts. Make a UGC account, right? So account of people that have your product and they're happy. Where it's just, and you see this a lot of times in the entertainment business, it's a fan page, right? So if, it's Morrison's dog food, maybe there's just, fans of Morrison's dog food, and it's pictures of dogs sent in by people that have bought your product that are happy. Or they tagged you in that picture. Now what happens is you've got 1 or 2 of those accounts, and the scaling effort that you put on your brand page, you can now double or triple the speed of which that you're growing, because you're doing it from multiple places. And that actually has an incremental value to the original one, because when people look for you, you're now posting 3 times the amount of valuable content, and it doesn't take any more time from you, maybe an hour a week to post the content, because you're using a scheduling app. That fundamentally ramps up and multiplies the value of your Instagram growth hacking. Next thing is the Google and Bing branded search. Now there's also Yahoo and Gemini. Don't worry about it. It's way too much fucking effort, and they're shit platforms. Don't even fucking worry about it. So for the Google and Bing branded search, you figured out your search terms. You're making money on it. You're making sure that you're on page 1 of Google all the time. And because people are clicking there, you're showing up organically higher as well. And people, when you show them your ad, they're clicking on there and you're getting clicks to your site for 20 cents, 30 cents, 50 cents, whatever it is. And it's working for you, and you want to scale that. You can't use Google to drive more Google searches. What you can do is what's called broad match on your branded keywords. So when it's Morrison's dog food, now you can say, well, I'm willing to look for Morrison dog. I'm looking for dog food, or something along those lines. Broad match will take the words that you're using in your brand name and your product name and combine. Sorry, Morrison's over here being really cute. I keep saying his name and he's like, what? I'm sorry, little man. I'm sorry. I'll try not to mention your name. Boop. Boop. There we go. Using broad match is a great way to try to do prospecting on the platform. Now, it won't be very efficient, and it might be 10x the cost of your branded search, but because you're using a Scrum doc and you're mapping success across all your platforms to one-day post-click, you're able to see what is the effect of that traffic to your store. Maybe Facebook's getting you clicks for $2, and you've got Facebook campaigns and they're working, but you're trying to scale there, and you're hitting a bit of a. Well, actually, in this case, you're not even running Facebook prospecting, so it's a way to get more traffic and a way to scale that effort. Additionally, here, the next step is Facebook retargeting. Now, in this scenario, if you're using the system, you're not using Facebook for prospecting at all, which means that you're not able to do a lot of the best practices we've been talking about for creative testing and iterative testing, because you're not using a lookalike audience to test your creative on, because you're only using Facebook for retargeting. So how do you fix that? You can absolutely use the bucket-based CBO efforts to do it. However, if you don't want to go to prospecting, you can use a very broad retargeting window. So you can say, hey, look, my lowest common denominator on here is a website traffic from the last 30 days. I'm not making any money. I get a 1x return on it. Okay, 1x return, one-day post-click. We can work with that. So you got a lot of traffic. So do your creative testing against people, against the site traffic from your last 30 days that aren't converting before that. If you can turn your WCA 30-day audience from a 1x to a 1.2, if you're using that to do your creative testing, any of the ads that work there, put them in your ad cards, put them in your ad engagers. That is a great way of using an audience very far away, but still large, to see if you can get them to convert. And so you use this bucket-based creative testing method that we talked about last week inside of your retargeting to improve all of your retargeting. That's the next step, because you have to do creative testing. For Tapjoy, the easiest way of your next step on Tapjoy is we initially said, hey, look, set Tapjoy so that, like, if you're selling a $50 product, you set your bid to $45 so that every time you make a sale, it's like a 1.1x ROAS ad all the time. You're going to have to hit a spend limit on that. How do you scale it? Increase your bid to 50 or to 55 even. Maybe take a hit. Because by the time you're looking to scale Tapjoy, you are making a solid return on your ad spend on other platforms. The reason you're scaling Tapjoy is because you're now looking at Tapjoy as a source of traffic to your eCom site, and you're willing to lose a little bit of efficiency on prospecting because you know that that's going to get you way more clicks and way more branded search results and way more impressions at scale. If you are able to lose from going from if it's a $50 product, raising your bid from 45, maybe you get 1,000 clicks a day, and you go to 50 and it gets you 2,000 clicks a day, you've doubled the amount of volume going to your retargeting. So it's just a balance of your math on where your money's coming from and where your success is. But if you want to scale traffic to your site, that's the easiest way to get more clicks. The easiest way to get your branded search to have more spend. The easiest way to get more impressions and more traffic to your site. The easiest way to scale your ad spend. Lastly, the Facebook Messenger chatbots. Well, we said before, included on everything, all that stuff. So for the next step for Messenger chatbots is to begin doing multi-day customer journeys. Don't just say, hey, you opted in, here's the thing. Try to get a multi-day customer journey on it, very much akin to your email journeys. Port your email journeys over in the chatbot, because instead of getting a 5% open rate where you're paying, a penny an email, you're getting an 80% open rate where you're paying 15 to 20, maybe $50 a month. Also, you can send in very rich media, and it makes it very easy. So instead of saying, hey, look, we saw that you were interested in this thing. Thanks for engaging. Do you want this gift card? It can be, hey, look, we saw this thing. Here's a gift card. And then after that, hey, look, these are our top selling products. Which one would you like to buy? Oh, by the way, if you want to buy anything, here's a free shipping code. Now you've given somebody a gift card. You've offered them the top selling products. And you've said, here's a free shipping code. If that person doesn't buy, they're probably not interested. But what you've done is every single day, you're letting the chatbot make impressions for you that might lead to clicks for you, that might lead to sales for you, but you're letting it do the heavy lifting that you normally were asking Facebook ads to do. Now, what happens when you do this is your Facebook ads tend to run far less efficiently. Hi, Dwayne. And why do they run less efficiently? Because your chatbots are getting all the sales. So your revenue is going up, but maybe your ROAS goes down. And honestly, if your ROAS goes down there, that's a good sign. That means you have to work harder, but your business is making more money. Maybe it means you spend less money in retargeting because your chatbots are doing it for free. Or not for free. It's like, whatever your subscription price is based on the amount of opt-ins that you have. Oh man, I'm almost out. That's a great fucking problem to have. So those are the next steps on that piece. The last thing I wanted to cover today was something that Tony had brought up, which was he has some audiences, lookalikes. Tony Walton, everybody, from In Case of Emergency in Australia, longtime group member, great dude. He has audiences that are built off of pixel data that are making lookalikes that have not updated since 2018. Now that's not good. Now there's clearly an issue, and he's going through Facebook to get it fixed because he had stuff that was crushing, and then all of a sudden stopped crushing, and then he looked back at it, and apparently the audiences weren't updating, which is a fucking tragedy, and that's a problem. So if one of you is seeing it, the odds are out of the thousands of you in this group, others of you are seeing it. So I urge you to take a health check, go into your ad account, click audiences, and on the upper left over here, it's like way over there. Let me just lean in and say, over here, you'll see audiences, recent audiences, and active ad sets. You're going to be able to filter by the ads and the ad sets that you're actually spending money on. Filter by that and make sure that they've been updated in the last 7 days, in the last 3 days, in the last 24 hours. If they're not, that might be a really, really, really easy fix to making things work. Now, mind you, anytime that you make a change to an audience, it generally takes about 24 hours for it to populate completely. And then for them to QA all of that. And I know you're thinking like, oh, well, why doesn't it just work right away? If you're running on ad platforms like Pinterest or Snapchat, it can take up to a week. So there's definite pluses and minuses there. But take a look at your health check of your audiences that you're using, including add to carts, including lookalikes, anywhere. Make sure that it's sourcing the right pixel. Make sure that pixel is firing correctly, and make sure that they're updating properly. It's not that common but it's a commonly overlooked aspect of ad performance, and I fucking applaud Tony for getting that deep into the weeds. We've been doing this for almost a year now in this group, and I've never once told people to do that. So Tony, thank you. You're helping everybody. Yeah, so I guess that's about it. I was also asked to say what are the 5 things that I really learned at Facebook this week, and I know we covered a couple of them. Well, let me just close with those, and if there's no other questions, we'll kind of get out of here. But if I've learned the 5 things at Facebook this week, number 1, it's that Facebook CBO best practices are changing actively, and they're getting closer and closer and closer to the things that we've been talking about here since February, which makes sense because we're working with them to design them. So, of course, they're slowly adopting it. Number 2, the creative is absolutely the number 1 most important aspect. Somebody said something, and it was really beautifully put, and I want to share with you. The best built ad campaign with a bad ad will get beaten every day by the best ad in a shit build. We talk most often here about the architecture and theory of ads and how to run a customer journey. The honest truth is, your ad is the number 1 most important thing. So I urge you to constantly be testing your new ads. Constantly. Another thing I learned, it was actually really interesting, is that one of the best ways of finding new ads is to go back to old ads that you turned off and revamp them. I actually just went back and found all the ads that were really crushing in January. It's been 6 months. Let me find the nuggets, the absolute best ones. Say my standard, we were talking earlier, is like a 1 at prospecting, a 2 retargeting, a 3 at whatever. Say my standard was a 1. What are the ads on a 1-day post-click? They got me like a 1.3. I relaunched them against those exact audiences. And the ones that work, I'll launch against all my test audiences. And I'll use those as the basis of my concepts to build out new creative and launch it inside a bucket-based CBO testing model and run them again. A lot of times ads get turned off, not because the ad is bad, but sometimes that sales pitch isn't right for the time. Or sometimes the comments, or sometimes, the market forces, or sometimes there's a business decision. There's a million different reasons. But if you were scaling an ad, odds are it's a good ad. So go back and find your nuggets and relaunch them. And I know I already covered 1. So the last other thing that I learned at Facebook this week is that, let me see, I got to come up with this, but okay. So the last other real good nugget that I found at Facebook this week is that most advertisers, 80-90% of advertisers, don't fully execute what their Facebook reps say. Now, why is this important? It's important because if your competitors are listening to your Facebook reps or to the person that they're buying courses from that's, Facebook rep lessons from months before that, that means that they are at best as good as, maybe 80% of people. And this is something that I've been saying for years, and Dwayne and I actually used to work at eCom together, and I would get in trouble for this shit all the time, is that if you want to be a market leader, if you want to be better than your competitors, all you have to do is be better than your rep. Which means, in this group, if you're adopting the best practices that we define here, then you're going to be better than everybody else that's listening to groupthink and to gurus off of lessons we taught 9 months ago. All you have to do to stay ahead of the curve is be a part of the people defining that, or listening to the people defining that. Don't be scared of new ideas. Build on them, test them, or bring them up here and I'll test them and let you know what works. That's how I found out about ad engagers. Tony just brought the thing about the audiences. So I challenge you to just solve the problem better than what everybody thinks is the best way. Because the honest truth is, what everybody thinks is the best way was the best way 9 months ago. And if you're buying ads to the best practice from 9 months ago, you're gonna be fucking struggling. The honest truth is Facebook isn't the place to prospect anymore. Its unfair advantage in the marketplace has matured to the level of Google. It's gonna be around forever, but it's not where you need to be. So don't get excited about everything that's on the cutting edge from everybody that they've learned from the reps. Get excited about the shit that the reps are about to learn. And that's a little bit of patting myself on the back because I'm one of those people, but if you've got anything that you're testing that's fucking crushing, share it. The only thing it's going to do is help everybody else improve. So with that, I love you guys. See you next week. I'll have some more updates, maybe some big news, maybe not. But it's Sunday. Go out and enjoy yourselves. See you guys later. Bye. And